So Andrew Tate versus Bonnie Blue.
Happy wife, happy life is true. And the reason it's true is because if the wife is unhappy, everyone's miserable.
This is true. When women are unhappy, they torture everybody.
So do you think you're a good role model for women?
I'm a clear example of what women have fought for years.
Bonnie Blue is just a symptom of the feminist garbage that we talk about every day.
Feminism was given to women by men.
And guess what, ladies? It can also be taken away.
The world's going to shit anyway, so whether or not we've got more kids in it or not, it's regardless.
She is deadened. And ladies out there who are watching, if you follow this path, you will be deadened too.
If it became a real fight, patriarchy versus women, it would last 10 seconds.
We are going to dive right in today, bring in the heat. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a brand new Jedediah Bila show. I'm so glad you're here. We are going to dive right in today, bring in the heat. So Andrew Tate versus Bonnie Blue. Did you see that? I don't want to call it an interview, a debate. Wasn't going to cover it at first. Watched a lot of coverage of it, and a lot of people missed the mark. So we don't miss the mark here. We're going to dig right in. Keep it juicy. Andrew Tate versus Bonnie Blue.
What would you do if it was your daughter, though?
But why are you asking impossible questions?
Well, it's not an impossible question.
Of course it is.
How?
It can't happen.
But anything can happen.
It's against the laws of physics.
It's not.
I mean, if your daughter opened her legs and took 1,000 it's not impossible.
Of course it is.
What?
Why
I
is
mean,
it
the dick would enter her, therefore she's taken.
It's literally impossible for my daughter.
What, are you going to be there against your daughter's saying that not entering it?
No, my daughter just wouldn't make that decision.
But why?
Because I still raise her in a household where she is masculinely guided. And she will be guided by me until I hand her over to some other man.
So that's the start of the interaction. Right away, you're going to notice Bonnie Blue throughout this whole thing. She is so crass, but it's so real for her. That's really, I mean, when I said to you that I felt like Bonnie Blue was different, she just is, right? She really reads like a guy. She has lost all femininity. And I'm not talking about physically, right? She has lost all femininity, and she really reads like kind of like a raunchy man through the whole thing. Now, it's interesting. I didn't know whether to describe this as a versus, as a debate. It's a very interesting dynamic that plays out between the two of them. Right off the bat, Andrew Tate is presented with this. Well, what would happen if one of your daughters became a Bonnie Blue, right? And he's saying not possible. Because just impossible that my daughter would make that kind of decision, because I am going to guide her from the get-go. She's going to be masculinely guided, meaning by him, until he then passes her off to a guy when she gets married, right? So the reason I started with this is just we always talk about the importance of a dad, particularly for daughters, and that's what he's saying. He's saying every single step of the way that dad's got to be involved. Who she's dating, what she's doing or not doing on the socials, get those socials away from those girls as young as possible, her morals, how she thinks about her body, right? How she thinks about concepts like virginity, loyalty, fidelity, all of these things. How she comes into this world as a woman, what she prioritizes, what she thinks her duty is as a woman, what she thinks will make her happy as a woman, right? Leaning into that femininity and embracing that femininity that we talk about all the time. All of that really needs to be guided by dad, right? Not to say that mom's not important. Of course, I always talk about the importance of moms, but there's something about a dad-daughter relationship that really shapes the way the daughter's relationship is going to be in the future with the man she marries. It really is. You teach your daughter respect. You teach your daughter what to prioritize. So he's saying right from the get-go, this would not happen to his daughter. So those of you out there, I have said off a lot of times, it's not always, the dad's fault. Sometimes there can be a kid that something goes awry, right? Either at school or whatever, but that's part of the equation. Okay, think about it. The dad's not only involved in her life, as in who she dates, how she treats them, how they treat her, all of that stuff. But it's also, is she in school? What kind of school is she in? Is she, what do those lessons look like? What's the priority there? Is she on a career path, or is she in school for other reasons? Is she, all of that stuff, is also in dad's control. So it's not an excuse to say, well, I raised my daughter right, but I sent her to this school and she got indoctrinated. And no, that's still your job. You don't send her to that school then. You homeschool her, or you look at the options in your community, or you investigate that situation. You don't allow society to raise your daughter, right? You don't say, well, I really did my best and we all ate dinner together every night, but she was on the socials till 5 o'clock. No, you take her phone away, right? You don't allow that. So he's saying from the get-go, a strong, masculinely guided young girl is going to not wind up like a Bonnie Blue. I would agree. All right, just an important point for those of you who are dads, those of you who want to be dads. I think that's a very important point that he makes right off the bat. Let's go to B.
So do you think you're a good role model for women?
I'm a clear example of what women have fought for years. Of
what?
Taking control of your body.
Correct.
Being independent. I earn my own money. I don't rely on a guy. I'm
Girl
paid
power.
Exactly. I'm paid more than other
100%.
guys.
100%.
Do you think
She is a clear example of what women have been fighting for years. Absolutely correct.
And now
I'm not going to sit here and lecture you about God. I'm not going to sit here and tell, no, that's all bullshit. She is a clear example of what women have been fighting for years.
Yeah.
Women believe that they can do whatever they want.
Do you think they should be able to?
He's right? He's right. Now, we expected this to be this, right? And you're going to find that what's interesting in a lot of this is, there is a little bit of clash here and there. There's a little duke out that happens here and there. It's obviously a clash in values now for where he's landed in his life and what he prioritizes now. But Bonnie Blue is the manifestation, the perfect manifestation of feminism. She is, right? Is that good? No, he's not saying it's good. He's not saying it's good. He's saying it's just reality. This is what you fought for, right? You wanted to be promiscuous, right? Women, right? You wanted to be, well, guys are promiscuous, so I'm going to be promiscuous too. You wanted to wear that like a badge of honor. And guess what? That's what she's doing. You wanted to make your own money, right? You wanted to go after the bag all the time, right? Make your own money. Be an independent woman. I don't need a man for finances. I'm going to prioritize this climb, right? Okay, women, you did it. You wanted to prioritize your sexuality and flaunt your sexuality all the time, right? Walk down the street half naked. Go to the club half naked. Hook up with whoever you want and not have it be, nasty, but have it be worn like a badge of honor and have it be viewed like a badge of honor by society. Oh, yeah, look at her. Body count high. Let's all celebrate it. Yeah, you empowered woman. Chelsea Handler will say that. So you wanted all of these things. That ultimately is Bonnie Blue, right? Bonnie Blue is the ultimate manifestation of all of that. She is a moneymaker. She is promiscuous, highly. She is kind of dead inside, right? And feminists, you also wanted that, right? You also kind of wanted to lose your femininity, which is your emotional connection to sex. You can't possibly want it otherwise if you want to be, like the In-N-Out burger, guys In-N-Out. If you want to be able to function in a highly promiscuous world and be highly promiscuous, you've got to lose your softness. You've got hardened up, right? Look at her. She's hardened. She reads like a man. So what he's saying is you are the ultimate manifestation of what women have been fighting for years, right? And it's true, right? He's not saying it's good. He's saying this is what the subtext of this is what happens when women are in charge. And I've said this to you. I've said, oh yeah, let's shatter the glass ceilings, all of us. Let's do all that. And then you got the OF and all these girls, realizing that they can capitalize on their sexuality and running wild. So when you think about feminism, it's very easy, and we'll get into this more. He really breaks this down in a really interesting way. But because he kind of correlates the Bonnie Blue to the super promiscuous girl who maybe isn't making a boatload of cash and isn't on the OF and isn't famous, but she's still living a very similar life, right? No self-respect, legs spread for everybody, dead inside. Maybe she's not bringing in the cash, and he compares that too. But this is what feminism elevated. It destroyed traditional female values. It said, women, you don't have to be innocent and you don't have to be, these virgins. Oh, that's garbage, right? Oh, no, just live it up like a man. Make your money. Climb to the top. Be an entrepreneur. We have showed clips on this show where we have shown adult grown women, successful entrepreneurs, praising OnlyFans girls because they're doing a boss babe climb. This is real. This is the end product of feminism. So before you hate on Bonnie Blue, first realize, wait a minute, I need to be also hating on the system that created her, right? She didn't pop up out of nowhere. And I need to also be thinking about where are all the other Bonnie Blues? They're not as famous as Bonnie, but are they at the club? Are they at the club half naked, hooking up with a whole bunch of guys in the bathroom? Isn't that a version of Bonnie Blue? Not as rich, not as famous, just as nasty though. Just as nasty. So he's right, and this is a great way to say it. Let's go to C.
If you're going to be a and most women watching this, and most men, hello, your wife, yeah, her, they're all anyway. If you're going to be a no disrespect, you may as well be good at it. Get a media empire, get rich, let everyone know your name, and get paid. Why are you going out to the pub, getting drunk, and meeting a man who's funny, and getting in a toilet for free? Are you dumb?
They are, though. Women are stupid.
They're stupid. So Bonnie's just the smartest. She's the Wall Street banker of this whole shit. I respect that much more than these other girls.
Okay. There's a lot here that will ruffle people's feathers. Okay. First of all, when he says they're all a hoe and he says your wife, he's not talking about the good girls here. He's not. What he's talking about is, hey, you out there, right? You got a wife now that she's got a body count of 1 for the last 3 years, but before you, she was out in college and in her 20s and racked up a body count of, 70, right? Because she had to just get it out of her system. Oh, I just got to live in my 20s. I got to get it all out of my system, right? And get it all out of her system means to get a lot of D, right? Get a lot of, So he's saying, there's a lot of those out there too. There's a lot of 304s out there, right? That don't have Bonnie Blue's name. It's not as ostentatious, but before they got married, they were letting everybody in and out of them like they would just, it's like the carousel. You walk up to the ride, you hand in your ticket and you get a ride, right? So what he's saying here is at least this woman owns it, right? She's not trying to pretend to be wholesome. And that's the thing. By the way, I am not condoning what she's doing. I am not saying this is good for society. This is terrible for her. It's terrible for society. I'm not, that this is not what this is. But what it is acknowledging this is someone who's honest about who she is, what she values, and what she's doing, right? So what he's saying is, at least I can respect you. Listen, you're being honest. You're calling yourself you're being honest about it. You're saying that you're making money off of it. This is how you want to make your money. You're not pretending to be wholesome, right? I'm such a good girl and going out to the club half naked, hooking up with every Tom, Dick, and Harry in the bathroom. And, before you get married, running out to a bachelorette night and waving, a dildo with sparklers on it till 4 a.m. while you kiss and make out with every guy you possibly can to get it all in before the marriage. And then coming home and pretending like you're some good girl. There's something to be said for someone who owns their shit. Not saying that what she's doing is good, but she doesn't give a lick. And she's telling you, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. And all he's doing here, this is not, to the simple-minded, this is praise of Bonnie Blue. If you're simple-minded. To people who really get it, what he's doing is saying, hey, ladies out there who are doing all this stuff behind closed doors, nasty stuff, and pretending to be a good girl, cheating on your boyfriends, have a body count of 50 before you get married, and now you're like, oh, I grew my virginity back. I see through it, is what he's saying. You're no better than Bonnie Blue. She's just smarter than you are. At least she's making bank off of it. If you're gonna be that way, at least be making some money off of it, is what he's saying. It's true, right? Now, the answer is don't be that way. The answer is, obviously, you want to raise your daughters right. You want to, as a woman, look back and say what society's telling me about promiscuity and all this. That's not good for me. That's not good for anyone. I'm not following that path. I'm not taking the low-hanging fruit of the easy money on OF. I'm not doing any of that. Instead, I'm going to be respectable. I'm going to, prioritize finding a good man. Yes, of course, you want a woman to follow the right path. We talk about that all the time. But all these women that aren't following the right path, doing nasty stuff that we point out all the time on this show, are they that much better than a Bonnie Blue? Or are they worse because they're in disguise? Oh, I'm a good girl. But you rip off the costume and she's nasty underneath. Think about it. Think about the point he's making.
The world's going to shit anyway. So whether or not we've got more kids in it or not, it's regardless. So just live your life the best. You're going to be dead in however many years anyway.
Fair.
So don't stress too much.
Fair. And this is what I like about Bonnie Blue. Bonnie Blue is my favorite. This is my favorite everything. Fair. Because what you just said, I understand and I agree with.
But it's selfish.
Yeah. But what have I
but
said?
Why should I not be selfish? Why should I give a shit about someone else that pays less tax than me, has, sits and complains, makes shitty TikToks about me? Like, I couldn't give a shit if your life's going shit. By the looks of it, you live in a council house, you've got a couple of kids with different dads. I don't care. So why should I sit there and think, I should do something to help you? I don't care. I should focus on myself. And if more people did that, the world would actually be a better place. But they become so fixated on other people. I'm like, where's your life? Why are you not focusing on yourself? Like, look in the mirror. You go and do something about it. Your teeth have that much plaque on it. Like, you're like, there's no way out for you.
No, but what
Is this a good role model?
No, yes, because no, but what
No,
Bonnie,
yes.
No, what Bonnie's saying is important here, and it's not about what she's saying. It's about the general attitude. Because what I want to make clear, the reason society was run by men for so long is that men have a different biological instinct to women, and we're prepared to suffer for the greater good. Women are not very good at suffering. Men are good sufferers.
Look back at the wars. There's so much evidence of it.
Well, of course. And also, let's just look at the normal family. You talked about these men who come and see you, right?
Yeah.
But happy wife, happy life is true. And the reason it's true is because if the wife is unhappy, everyone's miserable because she'll make sure of it. But if the man's unhappy, everyone else can be happy. He'll suffer. He'll sit with no He'll go to work every day.
Yeah.
He won't see his friends. He'll be miserable. He'll be depressed. He'll still pay the bills. He'll still pay the taxes. And everyone else gets to be happy. Men are good at suffering. Women are spiteful sufferers. And for that reason, they struggle to do anything. They struggle to suffer themselves for any greater good. Men have always died for a greater good.
This is probably the best clip of the whole show, this happy wife, happy life dissection. And the reason it's the best clip is because it is 100% true. Guys who are listening right now, think about your life, think about your house, maybe think about your relationship. This is true. Happy wife, happy life became a thing because everybody knows that when women are unhappy, when something's going wrong and they're unhappy, they torture everybody. We do. Right. And I'm putting myself in this, right? Because I'm a woman, right? So I have to own that there's a part of me does this, right? Hormonally, all of it. I'm just like, I am not a good sufferer either, right? I'm just not. There's something inherently about us that we're not comfortable suffering. We don't like it. We get very unhappy and we spread that energy out. And you have to really make an effort to not do that, right? You have to really self-evaluate and decide, I'm not going to be that person, right? But it is more instinctive for women to be that way than guys. You look at marriages and he is right. You can see a miserable guy, right? A guy has a job he hates, right? He gets up every day. He goes to that job. He does the job. He comes home. He pays the bills. He pays the taxes. His wife doesn't want to sleep with him. He's like, all right, you know what? I'm just going to stay up and work instead, right? He wants to go work out outside and it's pouring rain. He's like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go anyway. There is just something more resilient, right? And there's something less inclined to moan, groan, complain, take that unhappiness and just spew it out. When you have a woman who wakes up in the morning and something goes wrong, it's true. A guy does something, whatever it is, and she's unhappy, the whole house knows, oh man, can you just fix that situation so everyone else can have a nice day? There's something effed up about that, though. There is something very effed up that as a society now, what men have done is said, I'm going to do whatever I need to do to make her happy, right? Don't upset the queen, because if the queen is upset, we're all miserable, right? She's not doing that for you, honey. If you're unhappy, she just says, well, get over it. Deal with it. You're not going to ruin my day. You know it. You know there's a huge double standard here. So what he's talking about is that because that reality does manifest, the intrinsic qualities of men and women are different, and men are more built to suffer for the greater good. This is not rocket science. Look at history. Even Bonnie Blue is like, the wars, right? So this is a fantastic, very important point. Now, guys, what do you do about it? Well, you stop being a doormat. You don't say, well, this is the way it is, right? Happy wife, happy life. So I'm just going to do it because that's, I don't want to ruffle any feathers. And this is what guys do. They say, well, I don't want to ruffle feathers. I don't want to make let me just make her happy and then I'll have my day. No, you can't do that because now you are sending a message. First of all, she'll do that every time if she knows she can get away with it, right? And then your house becomes a house where you're always having to please her. She don't have to please you. It's a total imbalance. You can't do that. And you also can't have that ricochet out into society where then she talks to her girlfriends and suddenly it's happening in every house. And that is what's happening in every house. How many guys do you hear? Happy wife, happy life. They echo the talking point like a bunch of morons. You hear them on TV. Happy wife, happy life. You know these guys, and sometimes they're very masculine guys that in every other area of life, they're kicking ass, right? But in their house, they got to make the wife happy. No matter what, if it's like, oh, honey, don't worry, I'll take care of that. Well, you better, because don't do it. I'm not saying don't be a good husband. Be a good husband. Treat her right. But you know that sometimes women can go a little nuts, little nutso, we say it. You have to be the check on that, right? Now, the other thing that I want you to just notice about Bonnie Blue is how dead inside she is. This is just an objective statement, right? And she is, by virtue of being a 304 and admitted, she calls herself, right? By virtue of being a vessel for however many men, thousands upon thousands, and having to detach emotionally from that experience over and over and over again, there is a vacancy in her eyes and a vacancy in her soul. There's an emptiness, which is why she starts the whole segment talking about, well, I don't give a shit about you. I'm not interested in the greater good. She doesn't care really how this stuff plays out in society and all that. There's a numbness. She is deadened. And ladies out there who are watching, if you follow this path, you will be deadened too. And what happens when you have women like this that get deadened? Because women aren't supposed to be like this, right? They're not supposed to be deadened to sexual experiences. They're supposed to be someone who sleeps with you and has, an emotional attachment. We're designed that way. This is not normal, right? So what happens to a society where women are increasingly detached from that experience, increasingly promiscuous, increasingly dead inside? Is it good or bad? We can all objectively say it's not good, right? There's more and more of those women and less of the good women. And guys, even if you're at the top of the food chain, you are that, high value man or whatever you want to say. The pool of women that you're going to have to choose from that's good is soon it's going to be like this, right? If this continues. So again, I'm looking at her and observing two things at the same time. One is, yes, she is dead inside. It's not good, But two, she's owning her shit. She's telling you who she is and what she values. And the reason that happy wife, happy life conversation came off of that is because she's saying, I don't give a shit about anybody else, right? I don't really give a shit. And the truth of the matter is that a lot of women feel that way. She is echoing what a lot of women feel but don't say because they're masquerading as good girls and she's just telling you what she thinks. You think the average girl on the whatever podcast who's sleeping with, 100 plus guys and this, that, you think she's worried about the greater good? No, she's just not admitting that. Bonnie Blue admits it. I don't give a shit about the greater good. Who would you rather deal with, honestly? At least she's saying it. So I just want you to I'm going to say this over and over again. Bonnie Blue just has more money. Bonnie Blue is just more famous, but it's the same girl. It's the same girl that you meet out on a Saturday night half naked at the bar, that tongued down 6 guys the night before, slept with a rando the week before, popped 3 Plan Bs. It's the same girl. It's the same girl. Okay, let's go to E. Oh, by the way, before we get to E, what am I going to tell you to do? Hey, everyone. By the way, you all are amazing. I want you to hit that subscribe button for me now. If you like this content, the show is growing really fast and it's growing because of you. It's doing amazing. I want to thank you. First of all, I have a smart audience. I have a savvy. Y'all have some street smarts too. I look at the comments. You ain't playing. Oh yeah, we know what's up. I want you to hit that subscribe button. I want you to hit that like button. And I want you to leave a comment because it helps us with the algorithm and it helps us to grow. And thank you so much for doing that. Let's go to E.
I mean, if you had an 18-year-old son, would you send him to me on his 18th birthday?
No.
So okay, so your son will probably lose his virginity after going to a club. He's probably been drinking. The girl might have done drugs. They then go back to some hotel or parents' house.
I don't think
whatever.
I'm raising him that way.
Okay,
Yeah.
but regardless.
What about if he falls in love and loses his virginity to someone he loves?
And what if the world becomes a really happy place? It's unrealistic. When people lose their virginity, it's probably after a night out.
So it's more realistic I send my son to you.
So this is important too. She's basically saying, would you send your son? Would you send your 18-year-old son to me to kind of, intro him to the sexual world? No, the answer is no. The answer is flat out no. She has a very dark, and I'm using Bonnie Blue Bonnie Blue is just a symptom. I think Andrew uses that word as well at some point. She is a symptom. She is a manifestation of the feminist garbage that we talk about every day. And I want you to get a look. The reason I covered this is because I need you to see her mind. Because again, her mind is the same as the girl you hooked up with last week that slept with, 30 guys this year and gets offended if you ask for her body count. It's the same girl. It's the same mind. It's the same chip. It's the same programming. It's the same. And I want you to see their view of the world. Dark, dim. It's ridiculous that you would think you would lose your virginity to someone you love. That's just not the way of the world. Bonnie, I hate to break it to you, but you could change that. Audience, you can change that. You can make a decision as a man, for example, to not entertain a girl that doesn't deserve your time. Instead, you can go to the gym. You can get a second job. You can earn, an extra $1,000 this week and be in shape. You have the power to make that decision. You can, as a husband, if your wife's pulling some nonsense in the house, you can, or not withholding sex or whatever it may be, you can say, honey, this isn't going to work. This isn't going to work for me. So what's it going to be? You have power. Ladies, you have power. You have power to say, you know what? I know I'm being told it's empowering to sleep with a bunch of people, but it doesn't feel good and I'm not doing it. So this idea that, well, you know what? Everything's just ruined anyway. So I may as well just, take an 18-year-old and, inculcate him into nasty corn like stuff because, the world's going to shit anyway. No, that's how dark her mind is, because that is the way women begin to see when they dissociate from emotion and when they turn into a pre-programmed vacant robot by virtue of sleeping with everything that walks. That's not exclusive to Bonnie. Again, there's a lot of 304s out there that aren't making money and they're just doing it for free at the club. Same dissociation, same personality. I'm going to say it over and over again because you will see this emptiness, this darkness, this vacancy in those girls as well. Look for it. You'll see it. So Bonnie, I hate to say it, but you have a choice. You can, the way that it changes and the way that people start having sex for the first time and have it have meaning is that you raise your children differently. You stop thinking, well, I'm just going to, let me just pile on. Oh, the world's falling apart. Let me just throw my trash on the pile too. It doesn't work like that. I mean, if you want to trash society, it does. But every single person has the power to make it different by your choices. So, the same way Andrew's saying, well, my daughter's not going to wind up like you. How do you think that's going to happen? He's not going to wave a magic wand. He's going to parent. He's going to parent differently. And if you parent your sons, we often talk about parenting daughter. Parent your sons to say, you know what? Don't lose your virginity in some crap way. Don't do that with some woman that you later in life are like, oh, I can't believe I did. Ooh, who had slept with somebody else the night before and somebody else the night after you. Teach him differently and he'll do differently.
On your son's 18th birthday, I'll be stood on the driveway with a balloon and a happy birthday card. I'll take his virginity, but I'll take him to a safe, controlled environment. I'm not going to cry and rape the next day. I'm STD tested. I can educate him on a body. So the next girl he sleeps with, because if that's the girl he falls in love with, she's going to want a good shag. She's going to want to be pleasured. She's want to walk away from him and go, that was good. Yeah, I want to see him again. I want to stay loyal to him because he was amazing in the bedroom.
Rob, you should do it.
Do you really believe this?
Rob, do it.
Okay. She actually she actually thinks that a woman would thank her. Can you imagine? I mean, this is how detached from just morality she is. She actually thinks that a woman is going to say, oh, sleep with a guy, right? And be like, find out that he went and slept with Bonnie Blue, who has no standards, who literally has an open door policy for every in town, right? She thinks that woman is going to say, oh, I'm so glad you went and got help from Bonnie Blue. Oh, that's amazing. Oh, you performed so well. Thank you. That's not how it's going to work, Bonnie, if he meets any woman with any degree of standards or morality. It just doesn't work that way, honey. That woman will be so horrified. First of all, she'll be like, oh my God, I needed to get tested for everything, right? She's saying, oh, I'm STD tested. Sure, honey. Okay. Secondly, how gross will she think of that guy, that guy was so lacked such confidence and self-esteem that he was like, I need to go get a lesson from Bonnie Blue. Thirdly, she's going to be thinking, well, what did they do? Because Bonnie Blue's willing to do anything. So now is there an expectation on me that I would have to be vulgar, like this vulgar, basically bringing the corn to life? There would be so many red flags in that girl's head that a good girl would never be able to look at him again, ever. I would have never been able to look at a man again if he had went to Bonnie Blue to get a lesson. I'd rather have a guy that needs to learn a little bit, honestly, than one who's seasoned from Bonnie Blue. Oh God. I mean, she is so detached. She doesn't understand. She may understand men in some capacity. She does not understand women, good quality women who would never do what she does. Doesn't get it. But I want you to see that again, because neither does the girl that maybe you hooked up with at the club. She also doesn't get the good girl. It's the same person. Again, Can't say it enough. All right, I have something I want to share with you. Little interruption. I have to show you something because honestly, I've been eating it like crazy and it's the most delicious thing I have ever tasted in my life. And this is what powers me on the show. I'm not kidding around. This is from Lineage Provisions. Listen, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to try this stuff. Do you like beef jerky? Like, I know you think I'm crazy bringing this up, but I actually ate 2 bags of this yesterday. I took it on the plane with me. It is so unbelievable. You know Paul Saladino, y'all? This is his company. And I was saying to my husband yesterday, I have to share this with the audience. I have to do it. I have to tell you guys, this is the most amazing beef jerky you're ever going to taste in your life, okay? They call it beef sticks, meat sticks. This is, if you care about quality, this is 100% grass-fed meat and heart and liver. It's like 10% heart and liver, and you don't taste the organs. It's the most nutrient-dense food on the planet. This is my travel companion. I'm obsessed with it. It's so delicious. You know how the organs sometimes taste nasty? Not in this. They managed to do this in such a way. It's air dried. It has no chemicals, obviously no hormones, no antibiotics, all that stuff, but it has no chemicals and it has no curing process. It's literally air dried meat, 100% grass fed, grass finished, regenerative, all that stuff. I think it's 64 plus grams of protein. It's amazing. So what do I do with this? I eat it, dude. Now that it's here, I'm going to have a taste. I'm not going to lie. I eat it on airplanes. No joke. I take it long car rides. If I go to the gym, and I come home and I'm like, oh my God, I don't have time to cook. I eat it. It looks like this. It's so beyond delicious. No chemical processing, no sugar, no additives, no seed oils, no preservatives, no curing agents. I brought it to the show because I had to. This is one of the things that I eat all the time. And I was like, I got to tell the audience about this. Lineage Provisions. I have a deal for you. If you try it, you're going to thank me. I'm telling you, if you go and try this, you're going to be like, this is my new go-to snack. Okay. If you're looking for like a high protein snack, guys, you work out, I'm telling you, this is the only thing to buy. It's incredible. If you go to lineageprovisions.com and you type in a code when you check out, you try it, Jedediah 10, you're going to get 10% off. Not just on this, by the way, you get 10% off site-wide. If you see something else that you like there, they have protein powder, they have creatine, they have other stuff. But I'm telling you to start with this. It's the most unbelievable. I can't say it enough. It's impossible. By the way, it's impossible to find jerky like this that has no curing agents, that has been air dried, that doesn't have like celery root powder and all that stuff. None of that. It's so delicious. I'm going to have to taste. Now I'm going to have to take a break to chew, but I'm telling you, man, it is the bomb. Lineage Provisions. This is Saladino's company. Everything that I have from him is amazing. It's so good. Check it out. I had to share it. I'm sorry. I was like, my husband's like, really? I said, I have to bring it on air. It's too good. All right, let's go to G. Let's do it.
You don't live off the government if you have a husband. They don't want husbands. And they don't want husbands. Women want to get married, but they don't want husbands. They want to get married like Sex in the City style. You know, like you f*** a million men. Then you get married to some really rich guy who lets you do whatever you want. Then you have an affair with the gardener. And then you spend all his money. And then somehow you're still the victim. That's the kind of marriage they want.
That's
they
most
don't
women's dream.
That's right. They don't actually want to be wives because wives are obedient.
We did a segment a few weeks ago where I talked about how women, I said exactly that actually. Do you remember it? I said women want to get married but don't want to be a wife. We can pull that clip up for you and run it for you. Couldn't even insert it if you want. They want to be married, but they don't want to be a wife. They want to be married. They want the ring. They want the guy. They want the stuff. They want the provider, the protector, all the lists that we go through of what a guy should provide. And yes, I'm with you. A masculine man should provide those things, but they don't want to be a wife. I also said that, women want to have children, but they don't want to be mom, right? They don't want any of the duties of being a mom. Like that's for the nanny, but they want to, they want to like get their nails done and be like, look, I had kids, but I don't want to take care of them, and that's a huge problem. Now, he uses the example of Sex and the City, which is also really important because I want to remind you, I watched Sarah Jessica Parker the other day on an interview. She was talking about how Sex and the City liberated women. No, honey, it wrecked them. It made them think that it was cool to be in your mid to late 30s, running around New York City half naked, sleeping with a bunch of men, having no commitment. Yeah, most people's lives, by the way, when they play out that way, Carrie, they don't turn into Carrie Bradshaw with the rich guy down on one knee. It doesn't work like that for them. That TV show wrecked women. Really nasty stuff. And that Samantha who was just doing everything that walked. Young girls were like, oh, I want to be that. Yeah, that's going to be awesome. It's so empowering. It's actually not. In real life, that plays out. And that woman that's Chelsea Handler. That's Chelsea Handler. So I think it's fantastic that he says, you want to have the rich guy and then, the gardener on the side, because it's true. Women sometimes think they live in like a storybook, like a romance novel, right? Ooh, a romance novel. It's not. It's real life. Still got the jerky in my teeth. It's so good. All right.
The thing that's unsettling in all of this is still the role of the average man, who's expected to get far less in terms of loyalty and quality and standard from a woman than he's ever had, and pay a far higher price. Our grandfathers got a woman. He didn't have to be rich. He didn't have to even be famous. He didn't have to be successful. He just had to be a man and do the most basic things. And she loved him and he loved her and they had a happy relationship. Our grandfathers got a woman for all. Now, to get a woman who cares about you, you need to be one of the most famous, rich, well-known, drive a Lambo, this, X, Y, Z. The average man's wrecked.
Yeah.
And the role of men in all of this is completely forgotten because nobody gives a shit about men.
It's true. It's true. Because everyone's being told to only care about women. So he's talking about, the average man is screwed. We say that all the time, right? She's right. The average man is screwed because the average girl is getting a ton of attention, right? She's, I think I'm a 10, this, that, and the other thing. And she comes with a list. I need you to do all these things, right? I need you to do this and that. I need you to make this much money. I need you to pay the bills. I need you to protect me. And I have all these things what are you going to do, honey? Why are you asking me? I have to do something to get you to be a gentleman? How dare you? Right? They don't want to do anything. They don't want, in fact, they also want to be able to whore around through their 20s, have a long body count list, and then get to say, I'm reformed, right? And then still, be put in the category of the 20-year-olds who didn't do that, right? They don't want their past to count. They don't want their present to count. They don't want their career climb to count. They don't want their attitude to matter. Then you got to do happy wife, happy life, even if they're nasty to be impossible to live with. No one gives a shit about men. No one gives a shit about men. And that's why I do this show in large part. I have a son. You think I want him growing up in this world where no one gives a shit about men? No, I don't.
Women can't change the world, Rob. Let's look at this. Let's take this away from Bonnie for a second.
But haven't you said that feminism's just taken over?
Feminism was given to women by men. Men are the only ones who can project force, Rob. Feminism is a male movement. Do you think if women march around in the street outside, anybody gives a The only reason they get away with it is because men stand around them with guns. Men enforce feminism. Men project force. If women really wanted to fight the patriarchy, and they don't, trust me, the reason they say they want to fight the patriarchy is because the patriarchy doesn't fight back. If it became a real fight, patriarchy versus women, it would last 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And when the riot horses start storming in with the batons, women would very quickly get back in the kitchen. So there's no such thing as female power. It's given to them by men. And it's given to them by subsects of men who are actually trying to damage masculinity.
Okay, that's interesting too. It's given to women by men, feminism, 100%. And guess what, ladies? It can also be taken away. It can also be taken away. Guys aren't doing that. Guys are stronger. Guys don't go march in the street with signs and write their boobs out and ooh, that's not what it's about. When guys really want to get shit done, it's a war. That's called a war, okay? If guys wanted to take your feminism away that they gave you, they would do it already and it would be done. What does that say about men? What does that say about men? They're such terrible people. They gave me all of these rights, and some of them have been twisted now and distorted and aren't really good, right? You ruined that, ladies, some of you. But if they wanted to take it away, they would. They're not doing it. Maybe be nice about that. Just saying. This is a really interesting point, too. Women can't change the world. Women will take offense to that. But this is all about force, right? If someone really intimidating, bring it down to your level, right? You think about war and it becomes too much, right? You can't really. But if you were, say, on your block, right? Say there was people were having disagreements or whatever, and a bunch of really small, petite women my size. I'm 5'4" and 115 pounds on a good day, right? And say we all come out and we're we're not going to stand for this. Do you think really anyone's intimidated by that? No. If a whole bunch of guys that look like Andrew Tate start walking out and saying, we're not doing this, suddenly people start getting taken seriously, right? Women can't change the world because we can't exert force. We don't have enough strength to do it. We're not going to go to the front lines of battle. That's not what our job is, right? However, we have told ourselves, no, women do change the world. And women, I saw a clip the other day. Candace Owens was talking to some nitwit, some idiot feminist. And she was going on, well, I believe that women can do everything that men can do. Honey, you can't do it. Really? Okay, let's pick a big, strong man and you and send them into battle. And good luck, honey. Ooh, I'll stand by with some water and an oxygen tank. It's not true. And you're lying to women every day by telling them that it is true. It's not true. So Women can't change the world, and women only have these rights because men said, here, take them, which frankly, some of you are probably regretting given what women did with those opportunities and how they vote, frankly. Every time someone horrible is elected to office, everyone looks at the young, is it not true? Young, single women ruin every election. Every single one. I'm sure there's guys out there being like, oh man, sorry, we gave them the right to vote. It's just true, right? You're like, things would be sane if it weren't for these now government dependents or dumb.
Oh, I'm an empowered woman. I want to elect a socialist because I'm a nitwit. Yeah. Woo! Pom poms.
We all know it's true. I'm just saying it, right? We all know it's true.
Women can't change society. Bonnie can't change anything. She's a symptom of the society she grew up in.
She thinks she can change men's mental health.
No, she's saying she can help with men's mental health, but she can't change society. Women, by and large, can't do anything. Women can march all day, every day. Nobody gives a
saw women marching there now, I'd look and think, oh, now what have they done, chipped a nail? If I saw a men
that's
marching,
called a
I'd
revolution.
Think, something's going wrong. Something's happening.
Because men can
be
violent.
Concerned.
Isn't it interesting in this interview how she has a lot of common sense too? It's fascinating, actually. It's really, I mean, I'm not saying she's making good decisions and I'm not saying her contribution to society is good, but she's not afraid to be honest, which is I think that's why he gets along with her, right? First of all, he gets along with her because she functions like a man, right? It's like, it's not being friends with a woman. This is a man, right? She's very masculine. And also she's just not, I get the sense from him, I don't know him personally, that he just has no patience for phonies. And I don't either. Right. So I watched this and I'm like, well, at least she's being honest. Right. And it's true. You see a whole bunch of women marching. If you look out your window and you see a whole bunch of women like me with signs marching, do you get concerned? You're like, oh, is a farmer's market coming to my neighborhood? Are they mad about something? You don't even go outside. You see a whole bunch of men that look like Andrew Tate or, whoever, big, strong guys, and they're marching. Or something's going on outside, you're like, shit, is my town being taken over? Like, what? Is there what uprising? Where's my gun? Right? Because you're like, it just is. That's why women can't change the world, though. Because it's brute force, and the ability to exert brute force is a superpower. We don't have it. Now, I know some idiot is going to go, but Chad, some feminist watching will be like, did you not see the female boxer? Yeah, honey. Did you not see her in the ring with a guy get pounded? That's my point.
A revolution requires warriors, and that's why men and masculinity is under such constant attack. That's why they're trying to get rid of me. That's why they don't like what I say, because when you have men who are prepared to stand up for something, we're seen as a threat to the system. That's why masculinity in and of itself is attacked, because they don't want men who stick up for themselves, because if you stick up for yourself, you stick up for society, which is why they use feminism and they weaponize it to destroy the masculine instinct. Because if women have more power than men, and if you can't even have a family, and you can't even tell your own wife what to do, why are you going to try and have any vested interest in society?
Do you see why people can't stand this guy, though? Every time I do something related to Andrew Tate, every single time, without fail, I get messages. People are mad. Oh, he's an idiot. You're way better than him, Jed, because, he did the webcam, whatever. And because they read the headlines that he's a misogynist, and they didn't study the case, but instead read the Guardian's coverage of it or some crap. They didn't do the research themselves. But this guy, this is why people really can't stand him. The powers that be, the system, this stuff, because he's telling men, be men. He's reminding them, be a masculine man. Don't take this crap. Don't take it from, the Bill Gates of the world. Don't take it from your girlfriend. Don't be a doormat. And he really understands that if they take down men, it's over. It's over. What are we going to do? You think I'm going to be able to stand up against the Bill Gates of the world? No, you need these big, strong guys. You need, when somebody rolls in with a mandate, right? You need a guy, big, strong men with guns at the door saying, try me. That's what you need. He knows that. So you need guys with balls, right? That's all that matters in society. Do you have men with balls willing to stand up to the right people? That's it. End of story. End of story. That's why they can't stand this guy. Because A, he doesn't give a shit what you say about him, right? He doesn't care. And B, his message is because he's telling guys at the root. He's saying, in your own home, be a man. You got to do it in your own home first. In order to be able to ricochet that energy out, you got to build that in the foundation. So if you can't be the man of the house, how are you expected to do anything in your community or at large? Inspiring men to grow a pair of balls. Society hates that, right? They want all these emasculated, feminized, bullshit men. That's why they can't stand them. Hit that subscribe button. If you like the message, hit the subscribe, hit the like, show some love for the channel. And thank you for doing that. We're going to get to the last clip. This is Elle. Let's roll it.
What should a woman that hasn't been born with overt beauty do then?
Well, she should find a man she loves with all of her heart, and she should encourage him to want to take care of her. I mean, the masculine imperative is to protect and provide for what we love. It's very easy to find a man who will take care of you and provide for you and protect you and give you what you want if you make him feel respected and loved. It's very easy to do. But if you refuse to make him feel respected and loved, you're never going to find what you want. And it doesn't matter how attractive you are, as long as you're realistic about the kind of partner you choose.
Luckily, plastic surgery is a thing nowadays as well.
Well, there you go. But if you're an average looking woman and you want a 10 out of 10 super famous, super rich man, you have to understand that you're never going to probably get what you want out of him. But if you're prepared to have an average man working an average job, you probably get the world out of him. He'll give you his very best. So
doesn't this seem rational, right? And optimistic too. Is this the guy you read about in The Guardian? Does it sound like him? Just telling you, stop reading the news. They don't know jack about jack. Everything is just propaganda. Right? I'm not saying everything he's ever done in life is amazing. I'm not saying he hasn't done stuff I disagree with. So don't twist it. But what he's saying is true. The masculine imperative is to take care of a woman who's going to be respectful of him. Men want love and respect. They want a woman who is going to make their lives peaceful, bring them peace, bring them loyalty, bring them joy. That's what they want. They don't want a headache climbing a corporate ladder. They don't. I don't care what your husband told you because you bullied him into saying it. He doesn't want that. He wants to come home from work and have you smiling and loyal and caring about the home and with a virtuous past. As Andrew Wilson, we did that whole segment about women of virtue. That's what they want. And he's saying if women aren't deluded, right? And we do that too. You can't be a 5 looking for a 10. Then the 5 is looking for the 10. The 10's just going to use them and not take them. So we've gone through this. So you have to be confident. But you also, one last thing I want to touch on before we close today. We talk about male superpowers, right? The physical strength of a man. When a man is in shape, it's like, it's incredible to witness. It's like you're looking at a work of art, right? And you're so grateful because you're like, that guy has my back, right? Your husband, the police officer, the fireman, whoever it may be. You're like, thank God that person cared enough to, strong men, build society, protect society. That's just how it goes, okay? But women also have a superpower. We also do. We can birth babies. I can grow a human, y'all. I made a person. Holy crap. I look at him and I'm like, where did you come from? You know, that's incredible. And when we bring peace to a man, he can accomplish anything. When we bring a nurturing energy to a home, that goes from a house to a home. We have superpowers too. We're just not prioritizing them. We're not loving them anymore because we've been told by society that they're not good enough, right? No, that's feminine stuff. You need to do the masculine stuff. You got to compete with a man. And so now we're hustling to be a C-rate man because we're never going to be an A-rate man because we're not men. And we're neglecting all of the beautiful things that would make us have our own superpowers, right? You know it. Everyone, I want to thank you. This is the breakdown of Andrew Tate versus Bonnie Blue that everyone needed to hear. You know we're going to do it. You know it. Love you. Thank you. Don't forget, y'all, don't forget Jedediah 10%. I'm telling you, man, the second the show's over, you know I'm going to inhale this stuff. It's delicious. Go get it. Go get it, y'all. All right. We'll see you back here again soon. Love you.